Hello, I'm Esther Githu. Welcome to Africa 54. Here's what's coming up. Top World Health bodies advise against travel restrictions even as Mpox spreads to countries outside of Africa. Reports of information manipulation, political violence, and intimidation are on the rise just months before the November U.S. presidential election. And in our entertainment report, Music Time in Africa host Heather Maxwell features Telem and Common Sounds, an 8-piece band from Freetown, Sierra Leone. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54. African leaders are meeting in Zimbabwe on Saturday for a scheduled summit of the 16-nation Southern African Development Community. Mpox outbreaks across the continent is likely to be a main topic of discussion. The World Health Organization has declared the Mpox outbreaks in Africa a global health emergency. On Friday, the WHO and the International Federation of the Red Cross advised against any travel restrictions to stop the spread of Mpox after new cases were detected outside Africa. VOA's Pondiho has more.
A new, more infectious variant of the Mpox virus, called Mpox clade 1b, is an offshoot of the clade 1 virus that has caused sporadic outbreaks in the DRC for decades. The new variant was confirmed in Sweden and Pakistan, the first sign of its spread outside of the continent. But the IFRC says at this point there is no need to close borders to stop the spread of the disease.
And from the IFRC side, we do stand with what is recommended under international health regulations, which is that there's no need to close borders when we are in disease outbreaks. Diseases don't recognize borders. People will continue to cross a border, whether it is a legal crossing or an illegal crossing. It doesn't stop a disease from spreading.
The World Health Organization, or WHO, declared the Mpox outbreaks are in Congo and elsewhere in Africa a global emergency on Wednesday.
Standing recommendations are exactly as was outlined by my colleagues from IFRC, that we do not recommend closure of borders. We do not want to see closure of borders.
Cases have been confirmed among children and adults in more than a dozen countries across the continent where the new form of the virus is spreading.
It does have quite a high case fatality rate at the moment. As mentioned, we've seen more than 500 deaths, and it's particularly dangerous for those with a weak immune system, so people who maybe have HIV or who are malnourished. And as you know, in the area that it's spreading very rapidly, Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
Detected in 13 countries this year in Africa, and more than 96% of all cases and deaths are in Congo. Unlike in previous smallpox outbreaks where lesions were mostly seen on the chest, hands and feet, the new form causes milder symptoms and lesions on the genitals that make it harder to spot, meaning that people might also infect others without knowing they have themselves been infected. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.
For more on what's happening at the Mpox outbreaks epicenter in the Democratic Republic of Congo, I'm joined live via Skype from Goma by Jean-Claude Nzai, a World Health.
The situation just is getting worse and worse, but at least we have, health practitioners at the forefront of this crisis, providing, first aid and coordinating the efforts of all the organizations together to make sure that we limit and stop the spread of the virus.
So what kind of treatment is available for those who have already been infected by Mpox?
So there is an experimental vaccine, first of all, that has been tested that the health practitioners, like let's say WHO and other organizations, were realizing on the first identified cases. But meanwhile, the government of DRC has urged, we're pleading to get more vaccines in the country. Approximately 3 million doses that needed to just make sure that, we have the control over the situation, but also in terms of health system strengthening, making sure that those with capacities at the health facility level are providing the minimum services required to make sure that there is treatment at the health facilities, but also making sure that the prevention measures, are being adopted and communicated around the communities that are affected, especially in Kivu province.
How many provinces, for that matter? Because what we hear is that Goma is the epicenter of this outbreak. How far has this spread within the Democratic Republic of Congo?
So currently, Goma is going to be the second, if not the third, province affected by this crisis. The 26 provinces of the DRC have at least reported one case, meaning the whole country has been somehow affected by this outbreak. But Goma itself has majorly reported more than 200 suspected cases. And as of today, we have confirmed 59 cases, unlike South Kivu province, where we have more than 1,200 cases that have been confirmed, including other provinces.
And Zai, very quickly tell us, what are the health experts saying might be the root causes of this outbreak?
So we have several assumptions and hypotheses around the outbreak in the area. As we know, it's since 1970s that we have declared that the Global Health Organization have declared, the monkeypox virus. 2022 and 2023, we had, a surge in cases, but in 2023, we have, the situation is a little bit alarming because we went from almost a small number of cases to nearly 14,000 cases today. And what health experts are here talking about is, the human-to-human transmission, but also the human with, animals, like wild animals, including monkeys and so on. So the communication around the prevention of this outbreak is more focused on ensuring that we are limiting the human-to-human transmission, but also the government and all the actors are recommending that we avoid, communities avoid to utilize wild animals if they are not given proper advices and guidance from the specialists.
Jean-Claude, many thanks for giving us insight into what's happening in DRC. Jean-Claude Nzai is a World Health Program Specialist at Caras International. As we've mentioned, Zimbabwe is hosting the Southern African Development Community Summit on Saturday. Human rights organizations are calling on SADC to look at the country's human rights situation, including the arrests of opponents that started in mid-June. Columbus Mavunga reports from Harare.
Zimbabwe was the annual summit of the Southern African Development Community, or SADC, Saturday in Harare, drawing leaders from the 16-nation bloc. Crews have repaired most of the main roads for the first time in years and even built some new ones. But on the ground and in the air, the police and military have intensified their presence in the run-up to the event. Tinashe Chinopfukutwa of the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights says from mid-June until the present, there has been a wave of arrests of about 100 pro-democracy activists nationwide.
Those arrested have been subjected to prolonged detention and incarceration. And much more recently, we witnessed the arrests of four individuals at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport who were forced off a plane and detained incommunicado without access to their lawyers, and they were subjected to torture and other inhuman and degrading treatment.
The government-funded Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission said in a statement that it was investigating reports of activists' torture by security state agents. But Home Affairs Minister Kazembe says the people were arrested for illegally protesting the long detention of activists arrested in June for reportedly holding an illegal meeting. He also says those detained planned to hold protests at the SADC venue.
It is clear that the organizers seek to provoke a heavy-handed response from government, which they assume would attract global attention and put Zimbabwe on the spotlight. The attempts at rendering the country ungovernable would be met with befitting responses. Let those seeking to create an atmosphere of despondency among peace-loving citizens be warned that such antics will not be tolerated.
The rights organization Human Rights Watch has called on SADC leaders to look at the issues of human rights abuses by Zimbabwean authorities.
We are also saying that SADC leaders should speak out against this intensified crackdown on legitimate and peaceful activism. SADC should not be used as reason for Zimbabweans to live in fear, to be bludgeoned. We've seen in the last few days military tanks rolling on the streets of Harare in a very clear case of intimidation of the citizens.
During the summit, Zimbabwe will assume SADC's chairmanship for the first time since the 16-nation bloc became a development community in 1992.
Where we will also be assuming the
SADC aims to alleviate poverty and promote economic growth, good governance, and peace and security in the region. Columbus Mavunga, VOA News, Harare, Zimbabwe.
Two reports released this week are sounding the alarm about increased efforts to disrupt the U.S. presidential election. They say information manipulation, political violence, and intimidation are on the rise. VOA's Veronica Balderas Iglesias reports.
U.S. voters are increasingly being targeted by domestic actors who spread false information ahead of the 2024 presidential election. That's according to an election vulnerabilities report by the human rights group Freedom House.
People here in the United States who are percolating conspiracy theories and misleading information about politics. Some 70% of Republicans and Republican-leaning voters have been captured by the conspiracy theory that the results of the 2020 presidential election were illegitimate. Now, ahead of 2024, we've seen that narrative already emerging and dominant.
There's also a rise in online intimidation and harassment of election officials, as well as political violence, the researcher notes.
We've seen political candidates experiencing direct attacks, including, of course, the assassination attempt against former President Trump, hate speech and hate crimes against marginalized groups are on the rise.
While the voting infrastructure itself remains protected, cyber attacks are a source of concern, Vestinson says.
The most vulnerable targets are campaigns and websites that provide people with information about the voting itself.
The FBI is currently investigating alleged Iranian hacking attempts against the Trump and Biden-Harris campaigns. A second report from the cybersecurity company Recorded Future finds an increase in malign influence operations by Iran, Russia, and China. They include the use of artificial intelligence to develop inauthentic articles that are then posted on fake news websites that look like mainstream media.
To introduce bias within the content that has a political slant or a political leaning in a specific direction based on the corresponding government's geopolitical objectives and how those geopolitical objectives correspond to their best interests with which candidate ends up winning the election.
How effective are those efforts?
At this point, we have no hard data to suggest that these operations have historically actually impacted the results of the election.
U.S. voters are nonetheless encouraged to remain vigilant and wary of grammatical or spelling mistakes found in the articles and website domains they come across, which could give away the impersonation attempt. Veronica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News, Washington.
Still to come, straight from Freetown, Sierra Leone, Heather Maxwell speaks live to members of the band Telem and Common Sounds. Stay with us.
It has been said that art is the windows to men's soul. Without it, he would never be able to see beyond his immediate world, nor could the world see the man within. On the next Our Voices, we'll explore the benefits of art therapy with an emphasis on the mental health advantages, as well as how it can address culture, gender diversity, and social justice issues. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
You're watching VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Vunganyi. Thank you so much for joining us each week right here on Red Carpet. We bring you the latest in
In other news, a new report says UNICEF says children in West and Central Africa increasingly exposed to extreme heat, creating health concerns. The Children's Agency says children are more vulnerable to developing chronic conditions and contracting infectious diseases that spread in high temperatures such as mosquito-borne malaria and dengue. Nigerian legislation that critics say would have allowed the government to crack down on dissent is being withdrawn. The counter-subversion bill called for a 10-year jail term or a hefty fine for refusing to recite the national anthem and a 5-year sentence for erecting an illegal roadblock, proposing illegal curfews or conducting illegal processions. An idea that started out as a way to help one student having problems at home turned into a full-fledged chess academy here in Washington, where young kids learn the game of chess. They also learn problem-solving, discipline, and applying the board game's lessons in real life. VOA's Philip Alexiou explains.
We'll do a little bit of chess first, and then we'll let you eat.
Shaka Green is the founder and executive director of Bravo Zulu Chess Academy in Washington, D.C.
Bravo Zulu is actually a nautical term. I spent some time in the United States Navy. It just means job well done. And as soon as I heard it the first time, I was like, well, yeah, of course it does. With a name like Shaka, I grew up being very versed in who Shaka Zulu was and what he meant to the continent of Africa and to the Zulu people. And then to hear Bravo Zulu meaning job well done, it just made perfect sense. All right, E2, E4, we know that move. We've seen it thousands and thousands of times at this point.
Bravo Zulu Chess Academy started out of a need when Shaka Green noticed a third grader having issues in school.
So I made a deal with him. I said, hey, if you can stay in class, I'll teach you how to play chess. And his response was beautiful. He said, I already know how to play chess. I said, well, show me. And so what started as a challenge, he and I would just play during lunch as a reward.
And some of the kids started watching them play. Then more kids came by, and the interest spurred the launch of morning chess at the school. And then that interest grew, and Green added another chess class after school. That was when Green said it was time to find a way to start competing in chess tournaments.
Looking for a way of giving a kid a tool who really needed a tool to make his life better, it turned into this program where we've now won more than 150 championships. We've been 10-time Mid-Atlantic regional champions, 10-time Washington, D.C. champions, 6-time Baltimore City champions, and I can go on and on with these accolades. But more importantly, Antonio and many of his friends are now college students. So our summer camp program really is geared to students 6 to 16, but the sweet spot for chess is really 7 to 10.
Green believes every child should learn to play chess before any other discipline like playing an instrument or sports because chess gives you a firm foundation in thinking, critical analysis, and discipline.
I like chess because it helps you learn and how to make sure that you think before you move. It's kind of like life. So if you think before you move in chess, it can help you think before you move in real life.
Once you make your own move on the chessboard, the consequence could be good or it could be bad.
Salvo, now 17 years old, got into chess by selecting it as an after-school activity and now teaches the game.
I'm not really good at it, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I help the little kids, the ones who don't know the pieces, how to set it up, and all that.
You'll find that more boys play chess, but girls are actually the better chess players, just due to cognitive development. The brain of young females develops quicker than guys.
I think it's really grounding, and it puts you on the same level, I think, with a lot of people, because I can play against someone who's 4 years old, 5 years old, and they've already won like a bunch of championships, and it really helps me slow down and think about my actions more.
What we do unique that here in our program, Bravo Zulu specifically, is we have a very communal aspect. They want to be here.
I love helping the kids. It actually helped me as a chess player, because me learning different openings, helping other kids, because I have to be on my A game to help them. I have to learn my theory, have to be in the chess books, I have to learn, I have to play more people so I can go back to them and give them the knowledge.
They're all given the same opportunity to show their brilliance.
Chess builds the mind. It really builds the mind and focus.
Philip Alexio, VOA News, Washington.
It's time for Entertainment Report, and joining us now is Heather Maxwell, host of VOA's Music Time in Africa radio program, and she has with her several members of the fabulous group Telem and Common Sounds. Hello, Heather.
Hello, Esther. Hello, everyone. Yes, Telem on Common Sounds is an 8-piece band from Freetown, Sierra Leone. You may remember them from last year when they performed live in studio here at VOA. Well, they're back now with a bang, now promoting their debut album, Telem Strong, with an East Coast U.S. tour beginning at Berklee College of Music in Boston and now here in Washington, D.C. Joining me now are 3 members of the group, Kate Krantiris, Sam Nabiu Sande, and Harold Nat Johnson. Hello, welcome. Howdy, body.
The body fine. Body fine.
Tell us what each of you play, first of all, starting with you, Kate.
I'm a singer-songwriter and a music producer.
Yeah, I'm a drummer, and also I'm a pianist.
Okay.
I'm the guitarist and pianist, singer, producer.
Mm-hmm. So how is the tour going so far?
So far, it is going so well. We're having like really great reception from the places and people we've been with, making awesome music, and it's always great. It's always a pleasure to actually be in a place where we can share our original music, and people are amazed whenever they see Sierra Leoneans and they hear the music we give out, and it brings them to life.
Yes.
And they want to hear more. That's how it's been. So
they want to hear more.
They want to hear more.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Are you playing mostly songs from your new album?
I think we do a mix. Mm-hmm. Some from the new, but we have a whole list. It's just too many songs, so we sometimes just pick and choose. But yes, we're still promoting the new album. So yes, we do a couple of the songs.
Now, last year you were here, and there were 4 of you. That was Telem on Common Sounds. Now there's 8. So how, you and Kate, you were both from the original group. How is it different now than before, aside from the obvious being twice as many?
Well, I think more is always better. In any creative endeavor, when you have more ideas or inputs or perspectives, it's just a richer, more resilient, exciting, interesting experience. And I'm really grateful that this year we were able to be joined by 4 additional musicians to share what they're working on.
Including you, Sam.
Yeah.
You're new to the group.
Yeah.
So how do you find being, is this your first time in the United States?
Yeah, this is my first time.
Oh, good. Well, welcome. Double welcome. And how is it like being with this group?
Oh, it's been amazing so far, because Telem so far has given me the platform to expand my drumming skills, and all thanks to the Telem family and Kate here, and also the tour is good.
The tour is good.
Yeah.
Now, where are you all going after this? Here in the U.S. Where's the tour taking you?
Well, I think I'll leave Kate. Yeah. I'll leave Kate.
Okay, yeah. So we're here in D.C. for this week. Very happy to be hosted back again with you. Tomorrow we have a show at 7:30 at Bossa Bistro in D.C. That will be a really cool 2-hour set, a whole fusion of our original songs, but also indigenous music genres from Sierra Leone blended into contemporary genres. We'll be doing some recording on Sunday. And then later this month, we'll be headed to New York. For the first time in 50 years, Sierra Leone is chairing the United Nations Security Council this month, and quite a historic presidency of the Security Council. And so we're very privileged to be able to share our music at the end of the month in an event that celebrates that.
Oh, that's exciting. Very exciting. And then everybody's going home to Freetown?
Yeah.
Are you going home?
I'm staying here.
You're staying here because you are a student at Berklee College of Music. Congratulations on a first successful year, as I understand it.
Thank you.
Do you like Berklee?
A lot.
You do? Is it all jazz or is it all kinds of music?
It's everything.
It's everything. Music business, jazz?
Everything you want, everything you can do.
Wow.
Yes.
Very amazing. All right, so what does 2025 look like? We just have another minute, or not even, a few seconds, but what are your hopes?
So when we look at thriving creative societies around the world, we see 4 things. We see institutions of learning and education so that you can, craft your own way as a creative at world-class levels. We see institutions of performance and exhibition to engage with audiences and share what you're doing. We see opportunities to get resources, whether through grants, residencies, and we see strong intellectual property framework. And our group at Telema Common Sounds, in collaboration with lots of organizations in Sierra Leone, is really contributing to the transformation of a creative sector that works to manifest this kind of activity in Sierra Leone. So
Beautiful.
We're really excited to be doing songwriting retreats, master classes, performance, different kinds of performance series, and musical exchanges that bring Sierra Leonean music out into the global stage and welcome global musicians to Sierra Leone as well.
That's fantastic. Amazing work. Thank you so much, Kate, Sam, Harold.
Thank you.
Good luck on the tour, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for entertainment this week. Esther, back to you.
Thank you so much, Heather. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a great weekend.